Hello, what's up guys and welcome back. This is G and today I'm going to present you the basics of building a hand in top drives. I figured the best is if I'm walking you through the original single player campaign and explain everything during action. In the end of the day, the introduction of the game is the purpose of these tracks. Once I started with the first map, the realization immediately came that these races are not intended for garages like mine, and there is not much excitement in winning every race by 300 or 400 points, it's just simply an overkill. So I decided, let's just twist it up. As in the beginning of the game, you are given a few commons and uncommons to start with, I thought I should do the same, but let's make my life harder and use only commons. After a bit more of thinking, I decided to set even more restrictions to make the races more challenging. My cars are mostly upgraded, while at the start, most likely you run without any. Therefore, I will be limiting my max RQ to 80 instead of 95, and no trophy cars are allowed, as those are not around either when you start. Still, I have a lot more experience than in the beginning and I have a quite wide car park as well, so why not cut my chances even further? I can pick only 5 cars for the whole campaign and I can use only those during the 10 races of Midlands. I also want to beat every race with 3-star performance, so by 250 points. Considering that there are different surfaces, weather conditions, even specific requirements for races, it starts to be a lot more interesting. Okay guys, rules are clear, let's get going. Straight away, let's take a look at the race requirements so we will have an idea what sort of cars will need to be part of the team. For the finals, at least 2 upgraded cars are required, which hopefully I can pass, then mostly open matches, meaning whatever cars can go. At race 7, a 4-wheel drive will be necessary, while the surface will change partially from asphalt to dirt or gravel most probably, and it's required to have a convertible to start race 2. I don't recall any 4-wheel drive convertible common, so 2 out of 5 cars are defined by these. Let's start with the first race and immediately narrow down my garage to those cars I can use. There are not too many convertibles and most of them are high quota commons, lucky me. It will be standard tire for sure, those are ideal on rain, which we might have a lot. Off-road would be fantastic for non-asphalt races, but I haven't seen too many maps with mixed terrain. On the other hand, off-road has a huge disadvantage on wet asphalt, so we will cut the Fiat and Citroën out. It's either the Tigra or the Beetle to save a bit of RQ, but Tigra is faster, have better mid-range and also lighter. Then the next is 4-wheel drive, which we don't have too many either. The Panda and the Honda are both fantastic cars, however this only applies on wet and curvy roads. Otherwise, due to low stats, they are easy to beat. Not all races will be in rain, hence the Pontiac will be the better compromise, not to mention the low RQ. I have 45 quota left for the other 3 cars, but at least we tick the specific requirements. For the last 3 I will be dumping in cars I would take if there wasn't any RQ cap, and then gradually we are going to shave down on RQ. I have also seen pictures of drag races and fast circuits, so we need to keep that in mind as well. On top of that, as we are in the UK, rain is going to be frequent. Definitely, I will need one more standard tire. For the rest, a performance tire with decent stats shall do the job, and I will need a capable dragster as well. I will try to keep the Escort for this purpose. It has also medium ride haze, so goes great on city streets as well. Opel GT has great handling and top speed, but let's swap it for the Gordini. Also we need to scale down from the Almero to the Corsa. Still 8 to go. The Micro might not be that bad, excellent handling might do the job as long as we have curvy roads. Okay, let's try the other Gordini to save on quota, or even better the Fulvia, just we need to keep in mind the low ground clearance, so no go for city races. Then the Cimarron, which is a surprisingly great car as a common, all the stats are passable and goes on standard tires with medium clearance. Mid-range is not horrible either, and it's quite light among the US cars. And with this, 80 RQ is reached, we are fitting all the requirements, here goes nothing. For the quarter mile, I will go with the Escort, which was picked for this purpose. Let's also make sure standard goes for the rainy dirt track, otherwise we should take home this match. The first race is an easy win. The Escort simply destroys the Fiesta on the track race. Most probably this wasn't the hardest race in this series. After that, Fulvia was a fantastic choice for slalom due to its lightweight and great handling. The Cavalier stands no chance at all, even though it's a higher RQ car, but less ideal for this race. Third, the Pontiac is a good all-rounder due to decent grip, so it rules the karting circuit. That's exactly why I have chosen it over the other four-wheel drive cars. Next we are up against a performance tire on dirt. Not too many questions are asked. Front-wheel drive is not ideal for drags, still the gap is way too wide in terms of stats and tires. Last but not least, the Cinnamon beats the Astra, concludes the match to an easy victory to start with. For the second match, we needed to come prepared with a convertible, hence we have the Tigra with us. Once again, we utilize on the Escort's swiftness on drag. Cinnamon can surely take the Fiesta, as we have better stats, even though the Ford goes on standard tires as well. The other three races should be a breeze. We are still in the beginning of the game, which is designed to give a newcomer some positive experience right off the bat. That being said, the Tigra easily wins over the Ascona, as the Escort does the same against another Fiesta. The Astra doesn't stand a chance either against the Fulvia. The closest is the Fiesta on dirt against our Cinnamon. We are still well prepared for the first races as I see. Real challenges might start during the second half of the campaign. From now onwards, I'm going to focus on those races where interesting happenings occur. On both the third and fourth matches, we are already against an uncommon. Fortunately, not excessively upgraded, so we have a good chance to win over them. It's still fascinating how much better a well-tuned car does on a track where it has an advantage compared to a much higher RQ car. That's how selecting your team wisely will win you many races. This goes all the way to the top tiers. As long as an epic is tuned properly, it can sweep through many legendaries. During the matches where you have only a few strong cars or different surfaces to race, I recommend to address those first, then after the main source of pain is solved, the rest can be sorted out easily. If you have observed the way I was creating the matchups, I have started against the uncommon on both matches, then the gravel map on the third match. This situation mainly pops up during challenges. When you are playing events, you will likely to face an altogether well-optimized hand, which will require different strategies. Match 5 is a step up, as now we are racing 2 uncommons. However, what is rather interesting for now is race 4, which is a map called Test Bowl. This is the only map where it doesn't matter who reaches the finish line first. The timer here is rather for decoration. What matters is the top speed which you have at the time you cross the finish line. The score counter also decreases over time, as the speed gap between the cars is also shrinking. With this, we are already halfway through the campaign. Let's continue with match 6, which is rather similar to the one we just passed, 2 uncommons again. Here it's race 3, which is worth taking a look. What you see here is that even though the surface is wet, the performance tire wins over the standard. Due to the 4-wheel drive, the Pontiac can perform better off-the-line acceleration than the Vauxhall. Afterwards, it gains advantage due to the higher stats. Now we arrive to match 7, which has the one-time 4-wheel drive as an anti-criteria. Here I'm going to show you another matchup strategy. You can let one of your car loose and recover those points on other races, altogether leading you to win. Usually you can do this by sacrificing the weakest of your hand to go against a stronger one from your opponent's selection, which would enable your stronger cars to have smoother races. It's a quite frequently used strategy in all types of races, especially during events when your opponent might have a similarly powerful hand as yours, or it might be even exactly the same. This time I will let the Cinnamon take a defeat versus the Rover. Then utilize on the handling of the Fulvia and slightly beating the Elan, just to continue with a comfortable win with the Tigra, and let the Escort pulverize the EcoSport, which is not meant to drag at all. To put the last piece in place, we bring the 4-wheel drive Pontiac to a rainy twisty road where it has a chance to shine and bring home the missing points to secure victory. Match 8 calls for a similar setup than we have used most recently. Unfortunately, the E-Class Escort is simply not within reach for any of our cars on a drag race. We need to find the missing points elsewhere. The test bowl is a Sunday afternoon walk for our Vauxhall, easily passing through the fort. Since the quarter-mile race doesn't depend much on the top speed, our Italian Red Devil is able to take the Rover and gain us 50 points. We are mirroring the previous run and put our Escort against the Astra on half-mile, collecting 158 points to offset the upcoming race. Nevertheless, we will turn the rainy track into our favor, as we have the Pontiac, which can mitigate the loss with 4-wheel drive off-the-line acceleration. To close, the Cinnamon brute forces through the BMX on Twisty Road, resulting 3 stars again. It's the semi where the real fun starts. We are facing 2 rares and 3 uncommons, altogether 128 RQ with a hand of 5 commons and 80 RQ. So what do we do now? Let's try our 4-wheel drive hero against the Vectra, although it has better acceleration and speed for the fast circuit. Next, the Escort is not ideal for stopping on wet, so instead of race 4, let's put it against the Sierra. Cinnamon is a question mark for me, whether the 4 units difference in handling can offset the acceleration gap. The Red Devil and the Opel both should do fine. First, as I suspected, the Astra accelerates better, but then they are in different leagues in terms of grip, which pays off until the end. For the Escort, the task was simple. The Sierra could have only been a problem if it was upgraded properly. The Vectra does much better acceleration despite of being front-wheel drive. I'm afraid this might be painful. In curves we catch up, then the mid-range must be almost identical, but the top speed gap is visible in the end of the straight line. Only by 0.08 of a second we lose the third race. The Green Tigra has quite strong mid-range, resulting in a not that big victory, only 50 points gained. Las de Mexico performs way faster than Cinnamon due to rear-wheel drive, which has the upper hand especially on wet curves. Okay, let's get back to planning. We need to figure out the Vectra situation and the last race. I will now experiment a bit. First with the Escort against the Tigra. If we can get 200 quickly, we can manage the longer braking time as we lack the standard tire and the ABS. If Pontiac couldn't win, then our last resort is the Tigra for that match. Race 2 is Twisty, Cinnamon shall deliver. Fulvia has already proven itself and now we have a chance to utilize the Pontiac better. Race 1 is a win again, no surprise. Cinnamon has a weak start but manages to overtake after a few turns, delivering the victory alongside with 50 points. This shows exactly the importance of tires. Third is versus the Vectra, which pulls away with better acceleration. It's not a shock either, yet the Tigra has way better handling and pick up the pace on the turns. During this race, it's quite visible how much emphasis needs to be put on handling, once you have only limited traction. On the fourth race, our Ford goes flat out in the beginning, well enough to survive the slowdown section of the race. The last question, whether the Pontiac can win here. It looks like we are rather overpowered here. Hence, it was quite a peaceful win. Round 9 is done, let's go to the final. Straight away I'm going to pair our dragster with the Caterham. There is still a chance that we lose here, but the score will be surely under control. Cinnamon goes to the rainy slaloms without a question. With a bit of luck, Fulvia can take on the Elan, and the rest looks piece of cake to me as we have medium clearance on both cars. For my current hand, round 8 and 9 were harder. I hope no change will be necessary regarding this statement. First race with the signature car goes as expected. After this defeat we need to collect 300 points at least during the remaining 4 chances. Against the Mondeo, the city streets was a breeze. It had no chance of winning to begin with. Tigro provides simply better stats, 50 points sacked, 250 remains. On race 3, our Lancia is similarly light to the Lotus. We are slightly behind in terms of speed, but ahead with handling. Shall be enough for another 50 points. Race 4 is where we need to start piling up the score. Now the $1 million question, if we can collect 200 on 2 races. The Astra quickly gets out of the view, and in the end we manage to collect 154 points. As long as we win the last battle, the challenge is done. Who else could close this campaign than Cinnamon, who did consistently well during the series? Now it is bringing home another 50 points and letting us take 3 stars again. Hereby our challenge is brought to a conclusion. It is indeed possible to complete Midlands campaign with just 80 quota in your hands. Do you think you can do better? Let me know your hand and tune of the cars in the comment box below if you are able to make this series with even lower quota. My opinion is that there is still a bit of room for further optimization, but we are also quite close to the theoretical limit. I personally had plenty of fun playing the campaigns. It was great to tease my brain to find a solution how to win with very low level cars. Furthermore, it was lovely to see that all of them are capable ones to even beat hands full of uncommons and rares. I hope you also enjoyed watching it. Please give this video a like if you are interested in similar challenges in the future. Wishing you all a wonderful day. Until next time.